microphone check. That's a microphone check. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Goddamn. It's always weird when we don't have a Monday show. Wanted to say Tuesday. Happy Wednesday. Can you guys all hear me? Everybody good? I see mic'd up there. I don't think you're saying that you can't hear the mic. I think we're good. All good, everybody? Tap, tap. Thank you, TikTok. Loud and clear? Holy shit. What a morning we've got ahead of us now. Let me, I forgot to pull up a couple of apps on my phone. Give me 1 second while you stare at my confused face. If you're on TikTok, do me a favor, hit that like button and share this out to your friends. So far, we are now 20-ish seconds in, and we have not yet been silenced.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Sorry.
God.
Sorry. I didn't. And Katrina, thanks for hopping in early on the gift goal set for the show today. Katrina was up bright and early this morning. Katrina, if you're here.
Or fail.
Do you know what a kachina is?
What?
Do you know what a kachina is? Like a kachina doll?
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, I'll show you. Looks like this.
So we got a later Venmo yesterday too from Shelly saying, "Keep up the great work. Love the show."
Oh, well, that's the kachina doll on my screen. I don't know if you can see it. It's
no, we can't because you're not showing it on
son of a bitch. OG Labubu. Yeah, sure. That's kind of right. Actually, I hate that that's kind of right, but yeah, that's kind of right. It's a kachino doll.
I have not seen this before. I'm not familiar.
I think it may be Navajo. I'm not sure. What does it say here? Carve representations of spiritual beings in Hopi and Pueblo cultures. Nailed it. Just like I said, Navajo, Hopi and Pueblo cultures.
Got it.
Big down here in Arizona. You see a lot of kachina dolls.
So what happened last night? You dipped from Admir's. People thought I kicked you out.
You did.
I didn't.
I don't even know what happened. I was just sitting. I was just sitting there enjoying myself, and then I don't know who has mod access. I think you and
you don't anymore.
If Admir didn't do it, we were doing small talk for like an hour. That's what happened, and I Irish goodbye. If we're being honest, I jumped. The reason I was there is Admir asked me to come up and debate, and then the people that I was supposed to debate were not there anymore, and then we just did small talk for an hour and a half, and I was like, shit, I got to work on my show. But somebody was in the middle of saying something, and I didn't want to interrupt, and I also didn't want to stay there any longer, so I just left. Yeah.
I know how much you love small talk, so there's... I think one of the people that you were supposed to debate showed up later, and they were stupid as shit.
Who was that?
So, their name started with oh gosh, why can't I remember? I can't remember what their name is. You know what? I took a screenshot.
It was supposed to be Lynn's, and I can look at the messages here. It's supposed to be Lynn's and Belle, I guess. Yeah.
There was someone who their name was the Approach 101.
The Approach.
Mm-hmm. I guess they wanted to debate you before. I don't know, but I know this is gonna be surprising. They wanted to talk about trans people.
Yeah.
I know that's a surprise.
Yeah, to our trans friends out in the audience, you got to stop trying to trans all these Republicans. Okay, they're getting upset about it, and I know that you're after it, and it's your number one goal is to trans Republicans, but you have to stop that. We got to stop trying to do that.
There was a whole thing about the gender unicorn that he was very
excuse me. What
about.
The what?
Gender unicorn.
Gender unicorn?
Yep.
What in the fuck is that? I'm gonna look that up. Gender unicorn.
I'll show you because I I hadn't heard about it before, and he was very upset that that people had this unicorn. I just dropped it in our DMs.
I think I've got it on the screen here.
Yep, that's it. That's the unicorn.
All right. What are we upset about with the unicorn here?
I guess, I mean, the person was clearly lying. The approach was clearly not telling the truth, saying that his niece and nephew came home with this crazy gender ideology as it's being pushed on schools. And yeah.
And the crazy ideology was
that other gender
identity, gender expression. Man, how did the kid ever recover? How the fuck are kids supposed to recover after learning these things? What do they do?
I don't know. I think the funny thing is, I think kids they can handle it more than white conservative men. It really upsets white conservative men.
Well, yeah, sure. How do you even go on after seeing this unicorn as a white conservative man? What would you do?
I don't know.
Is this sponsored by MasterCard? That looks like the MasterCard logo in hearts there. I'm sorry that he had to go through that. That's devastating that his niece, you said?
Yeah.
Saw a gender unicorn at school. Our hearts, thoughts and prayers go out to that person. I don't know how you recover from that level of trauma. That's devastating.
I don't know. But hopefully they will, they'll be okay. So while I'm here,
prayers, everybody.
What?
I said thoughts and prayers, everybody. And also welcome everybody from the Facts Raid. Go ahead, Jen.
So on YouTube, it's still early, but want to remind everybody on YouTube, if you're typing in all caps, you're just going to get timed out because there's no need to yell the point. You can actually come up and have an actual conversation. If you look at the Venmo username, that's my Discord. You can send me a message on Discord and I can bring you up and have a conversation. So you don't have to scream in YouTube comments. You can actually come up and have a conversation.
You sure can. I'd prefer if we didn't talk about the unicorn, though.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Patrick, the kid, dry humped the horn of the unicorn. I don't know if it was dry, my friend. He was penetrated by the unicorn. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe he had a bad experience with a pet unicorn as a child. So, anyways.
Does your daughter, is she into unicorns?
No, she's into, which, by the way, sometimes I say dumb things that you shouldn't waterboard. I don't know if this is one of those things. For a couple of weeks, I thought axolotls were a fake animal. I didn't know that was a real animal.
Oh,
that's her favorite animal is axolotls. I didn't know that was a real thing.
Yeah, I can't. My spawn was into them for a minute.
I feel like we didn't learn about axolotls growing up.
I don't remember them growing up.
They are. I know they're like near Cancun in that area. You can find. I think they're mostly in Mexico. Pretty sure. They are adorable. Yeah.
They're very cute.
You guys want to see an axolotl? I'll show you an axolotl. They're adorable. All right. I feel good. Thank you, chat. We're all in this together. They are the most adorable, like newt. I don't know what they are. This is what an axolotl looks like. Isn't that adorable? Laughing fact, what do we got? The name comes from Aztec mythology. They're rarely white or pink. They can only be found in one place in the wild. Yeah, there it is. In I forget how to say that. Xochimilco, Mexico. They exhibit neoteny, which is you can reach maturity without going through metamorphosis. It's cool. They can grow up. They're critically endangered. That sucks. You can eat them, but you shouldn't because they're endangered.
They look like little dragons, kind of.
Yeah, isn't that adorable, that little guy right there? Super tasty. Somebody said super tasty. Who's eating axolotls? All right. There you go.
So my spawn had mentioned them before. So I have heard of them, but so before you go on, just want to remind everybody we've got that gift goal that we want to try to knock out as quick as possible so I don't have to, keep pestering. I mean, I don't mind pestering, but it makes things easier.
She loves to pester. Don't let her fool you. She loves pestering. It's her favorite thing.
Yeah. Sure. Also subscribe if you haven't already. If you're on Twitch, you can use your Amazon Prime sub, and so it doesn't cost you anything. You can do free subscriptions on YouTube, but if you want to be a paid member, you can join us for member-only events. We've been watching different shows and movies. What a new one coming up this upcoming Monday. You said it's what was it called again?
Hitler and the Nazis.
Hitler and the Nazis.
I'm not going to tell you guys what it's about, though. I don't want to give it away. But that's what it's called, though.
So, Johnny, so Jay doesn't forget.
Hey, I axolotl questions sometimes. I like that one, Johnny. I like that one.
So, also check out the link tree in the bio. We're on most social media platforms. We've got merch. Jay wore the new hoodie yesterday for healthcare. That the 20% off is over, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
think
check
so?
It. Yeah. I think it was ended on Tuesday. You can check it maybe.
Yeah, I can check it.
All right.
Anyways, we got merch. Jay's on Cameo, and we upload these episodes to Spotify. And hold on. What type of bee do you not want to? What type of bee do you want to avoid at parties?
I want to get this one so bad. I don't know.
Cosby.
Jesus. Jesus, not Dr. Huxtable. Jesus. That's brutal. True though. Fact check true on that one. All right. A lot of people didn't realize this because a lot of things are going on right now, but there was a very important court case yesterday. It was, what is the name of this court case? I'm not sure if I have the name here. I think it was the United States versus Winkler. Let's go Winker. And I don't know if you heard about this, but it's very, very important. A man accused of aiming a laser pointer at Marine One, a U.S. Marine Corps aircraft carrying President Trump, was acquitted of federal charges stemming from the alleged incident on September 20th, 2025. Jacob Samuel Winker was found not guilty of, and in quotations, aiming a laser pointer at an aircraft in the U.S. District Court of District of Columbia on January 13th, 2026. According to court records viewed by USA Today, if convicted, Winker could have faced up to 5 years in prison and a possible $250,000 fine, as aiming a laser pointer at an aircraft is a federal crime and a felony. Complaint filed on... This gets so good, by the way. I get it. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't aim a laser. Like, you could potentially cause some problems. I get that. Complaint was filed on September 22nd, 2025, alleged that Winker pointed the laser at a Secret Service officer assigned to secure the flight path for Marine One on the day of the incident. He just pointed it at a guy. Then he was accused of pointing it at a helicopter, the presidential helicopter, as it was flying overhead. The document continued. Winker's conduct posed a risk of flash blindness and pilot disorientation, especially during low-level flight near other helicopters. U.S. Park Police and U.S. Marine Corps, and the Washington Monument, the complaint continues. This placed Marine One at risk of an airborne collision. After being handcuffed, Winker dropped to his knees and began saying things like, "I should apologize to Donald Trump," and "I apologize to Donald Trump," according to the complaint. He repeated this action several times, the document reads. That's usually a good sign that the people of your country don't think that we have a dictator. When they get in trouble and they hit their knees and start saying Donald Trump over and over again. That's usually a good sign. Alexis Gardner and Ubang Akpan, the public defenders representing Winker in the case, told USA Today in a statement on January 17th that the jury deliberated for 35 minutes before finding their client not guilty. Gardner and Akpan said the jury's verdict underscores what should have been obvious from the start. Now it's Mr. Winkler. It was Winker earlier. Now I think it's Winkler. Committed no crime, and this prosecution was an unjust exercise of power. Federal resources were expended to pursue charges against a homeless man whose alleged weapon was a cat toy keychain, diverting attention from actual threats facing the community. Thank God for Donald Trump keeping us safe from laser pointer cat keychains. Can you imagine if Kamala Harris was president? We'd all be forced to stare directly into the bright lights of cat laser pointer keychains. That's a real story that I read this morning. So I had to share it with all of you. That's what our government's using its resources for. Can you guys all forever shut the fuck up about waste, fraud, and abuse? Forever. Just always, no more from you guys. You don't get to talk about any sort of fraud ever again. We're going to talk about it a little later today, and they're going to keep trying. But like, all you do is fraud, no matter what. That's the whole thing. There's a new. I actually forgot to pull this up on the screen here. I forgot to put it on my outline. I don't know how I forgot that. It's in my saved ones. But we've got a new list of pardons today, or yesterday, I guess. And you may be surprised to find out that it's heavy with fraudsters. Let me get this list here. Oh, no, not there. Here it is. Kind of hard to see, so I'll read it for you. Adriana Isabel Camberos was sentenced to 12 months and 1 day's imprisonment, 3 years supervised release, and $48 million in restitution. The offense, conspiracy to commit wire fraud and mail fraud, wire fraud and aid and abetting, 7 counts. Lots of fraud there. Andres Enrique Camberos, I'm assuming they were together in this. Conspiracy to commit wire fraud and mail fraud. Danny Preston Conrad, embezzling by a postal employee. That's pretty cool. Certainly needed a pardon. Ari Eric DeJong, conspiracy, 5 months imprisonment, 3 years supervised release, $2.2 million in restitution. Russell John Flint Jr., aiding and abetting the making of false selective service registration certificates. That's more fraud. Julio Velutini, conspiracy, bribery, honest services, wire fraud. Oh, more fraud. All fraud. Pardon. Kelly Caprist Kelly, armed bank robbery, assault during armed bank robbery, use of a firearm during a crime of violence. Cool. Not fraud, though, so that's good. That's just regular law and order. David Levy, conspiracy to commit securities fraud and securities fraud. Holly Ann Nadell, conspiracy to commit money laundering and bank fraud. Mark Rossini, conspiracy, federal program bribery, honest services wire fraud. And Wanda Vasquez Garced, conspiracy, federal program bribery, honest services wire fraud. And then one down here, Terrence Scott Pizer, securities fraud and insider trading. We care about fraud. Yeah, not stealing billions of taxpayer dollars meant to see children. Now, look, we think that those people should be prosecuted too, but it's just hard to take you guys seriously when it comes to fraud when you only like fraud in blue states, and then your president keeps pardoning people who commit fraud. If you're stealing from the government, then you're stealing the same funds that these people in Minnesota are stealing, right? It's just allocated to different places. But are we saying now, like, it's okay? Sometimes it's okay to steal from the government? But who's the biggest fraud? Good question. Billionaires, rich people who don't pay their taxes. That we're just short of like $1 trillion every year that we don't collect in taxes that are owed. So those are the biggest fraudsters. But we can't go after those people because they'll take away our jobs. These fraudsters give us our jobs. Our president's trying to invade now. Yeah, he is. We're going to get to that in a minute, too. Trump has absolutely lost his goddamn mind, and he's in Davos, and it's so much worse than I thought. The thing with Trump is, like, he feeds off energy, and everybody there hates him, and so he's speaking towards a dead crowd, and so he slows down, and it makes his lunacy far more apparent, and we'll get to that in a minute. But first, I wanted to show you this. We'll speed it up a little bit.
All right, so normally in
I want to show 2 things here. First, let's get there's Andrew Callahan's, and I forgot to add this to I was not very prepared today. Nick Shirley has come out now and said that Andrew Callahan selectively edited his interview. And let me show you the claims from Nick Shirley here. Where is it? All right, here it is.
here. So the other week, I sat down with Andrew Callahan in Channel 5 to do a sit-down podcast-style interview for his channel.
Diamond Dave, you've got to be smarter than that. This is the problem that we have with you, is that in order to make Donald Trump look sane, you have to make up lies. So you said, who cares if Ilhan Omar stole $30 million in taxpayer money? Trump pardoned people. She didn't. Do you see why we don't take you guys seriously? In order for Donald Trump to seem like he's not entirely corrupt, you have to compare him to something that did not happen. Don't be pathetic. Put some fucking sleeves on too, Dave. It's the middle of winter, goddammit. She did. She did. Yeah, she did. Real quick, Dave, let's look this up. Did Ilhan Omar steal $30 million in taxpayer funds? Let's see what Dave says. Dave, by the way that this goes, I don't know if you're new here. When this shows that you're wrong, you have to apologize and say I was wrong. No, there's no evidence that Ilhan Omar stole $30 million in taxpayer funds. Wealth allegations, the $30 million is from her husband's net worth, which is between $6 and $30 million. And that's just the value of his company. They don't take money from Medicare. So, Dave, we'll wait for your apology there. And now going back, the only part of your sentence that was true is that Trump pardons fraudsters. Except for you didn't call them fraudsters because Trump did it, right? Dave, I'm going to need that apology here, Dave, or else we got to mute you for a while. Let me know. If Dave apologizes, keep him. If Dave's next word is not an apology, we're going to need the shortest mute we can give him, and he's going to have to sit in timeout for a minute.
And when he goes and posts the video, I see he just posted an hour-long interview. I said, well, that's weird, because we actually spoke for around 2.5 hours. And then I go and watch the interview, I'm saying, well, what is this? This is not what happened. For instance, this clip right here.
What American city is prospering right now?
Austin.
Austin. Name another one.
El Paso, Texas.
El Paso, Texas is prospering.
Yeah. Nashville's doing good. Phoenix is doing good. Basically, any place with low state tax is getting a lot of.
In any place that's not Democrat.
I don't know about that. I mean,
name a Democrat city that's prospering right now.
Well, it would have to be one that's affordable.
Name one.
Denver.
Why are you smirking? It's not prospering.
All right, so that's the clip Andrew posted, but this is the actual interaction of how it went.
Denver.
Why are you smirking?
Because I don't know if it's prospering.
It's not. See, you can't even answer the question.
So just be clear, what Nick's claim here is that Andrew edited the part out where he's like, I'm not sure if it is or not. And then he says it's not. Nick Shirley says it's not. It's not prospering. All right. I'm going to get to Andrew Callahan's part of this too. First, I'm going to skip through a lot of this. It's 15 minutes long. But Andrew Callahan just basically explains like how his editing goes. He shows here like a lot of the editing with Nick is because he's repetitive and because there's a lot of ums and ahs and dead time. So they edit it down. And then Andrew Callahan explains why they edited some of these clips down like here.
So in this raw interview with Nick, which had a total runtime of 2 hours and 2 minutes, we had to cut nearly half an hour of dead air to make it listenable. Many people like to choose their words carefully, so I get it, but there was a couple points in
Guys, this is why Democrats lost, by the way. Curse World wants to... We lost because there was an interview that was going to take place in 2026 where Nick Shirley and Andrew Callahan would have some beef as to how it was edited. And he just wants you to know, Curse World, that this is why we lost. Is because Republicans were able to see in the future and see this moment in time where Nick Shirley and Andrew Callahan would have some beef about an edit. So thank you for that awesome analysis, Curse World. I didn't even think of that. I didn't know you guys could see the future. So thank you for being here and providing such great context for us.
Even in person, we had to have Nick repeat himself because the crew felt that no amount of corrective editing would possibly be able to make him sound normal.
It's been an interesting few days. Past 72 hours, my video on the expose of the fraud in Minnesota is the most viewed video ever, longer than 10 minutes, other than Mr. Beast.
Can you say the fraud in Minnesota again? Because you kind of stuttered.
Yeah. Oh, wait, are there going to be cuts in this or just going to be one take?
Which will make it perfect. So if we ask for to say it again, it's just to make sure you say it perfectly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, so my video on the fraud in Minnesota is the most viewed video ever by a creator, longer than 10 minutes, expose style, than anybody other than the name of Mr. Beast.
So bear with me here.
That didn't get a lot better, to be honest. He just said the words correctly.
Show you the raw footage, and we'll see how with the magic of editing, we were able to make Nick sound actually smarter and faster than he was in person. Check this out. How does that make you feel, like gratification-wise, as an independent journalist?
Well, I think it's the first video you've seen in a long time where a journalist actually went and created a video that created a change instantaneously. For instance, you had the HHS, Health and Human Services. They froze all funding to childcare inside of Minnesota and then they're asking for businesses to prove that they are legit businesses before they give tax dollars to these businesses that are not really businesses.
And how does that make you feel, like gratification?
Can't even explain like what HHS did. He has no clue. He's one of the he's got to be one of the dumbest people that the right has ever like held up. Him and Rittenhouse, they're neck and neck.
Wise, as an independent journalist.
Well, I think it's the first video you've seen in a long time where a journalist actually went and created a video that created a change instantaneously. For instance, you had the Health and Human Services. They froze all funding to childcare inside of Minnesota, and then they're asking for businesses to prove that they are legit businesses before they give tax dollars to these businesses.
So in that interview, we probably did that same thing as far as trimming dead air and splicing B-roll. No joke, probably 30 times, as you can see here on the timeline. And it was never to take him out of context, but to help him get his point across. We do this for every good faith interview or 5cast we've conducted so far. From Hunter Biden, which had a raw runtime of 5 hours before being cut to 324, to Hunter Kozak, to Alex Jones, to Hamilton Morris, Jan DeSanti, to pretty much everybody we've ever talked to.
Exactly. 100% not. Is that and there's this conflation that people have. I mean, I think they're opening up an investigation to
point out too, like Andrew Callahan's a real journalist. He knows what he's doing. It's a professional like operation. And here they're just showing Hunter Biden like stutter and how they cut this stuff out. But Andrew Callahan is pissed at Nick Shirley. And Nick Shirley is just mad because once he was shown in long form, everybody realized that he was stupid.
Beats that I personally found either boring, repetitive, or so off topic to the point that they derailed the conversation away from its intended focus, which was fraud in Minnesota and Shirley's personal background. We cut probably 25 minutes of unproductive, redundant banter about Portland, Mormonism, gay marriage, his new crypto coin. I heard you also made a coin of some kind.
Of course. Why not accompany a story where you did no journalism and uncovered no fraud? Why not accompany that with a crypto coin?
I didn't make a coin. I just joined a platform where you can monetize your content. And it is a coin. You can then monetize your content, just similar to like how you upload on TikTok. You can upload your stuff on there. It's just based off Coinbase.
The history and ethics of welfare.
He can't even explain what his coin is, or if it is a coin. Like, honestly, actual idiot. That's what I'm saying. He's actually dumb.
America, and 6 whole, nearly identical back and forths about his 89% statistic that he falls back on unchallenged.
89% of the fraud is being committed by Somalians, and 89% of the fraud being committed inside Minnesota is by the Somalian population. 89% of the fraud happening by people who were brought into our country and then committing fraud.
So we're clear, this is all a lie. This is all not true.
89% of the fraud happening in Minnesota is from the Somalian population.
Right, but 95% of Somali Americans in Minnesota are legal.
Yeah, 89% of Somalians are committing fraud.
Since we ended up including an extensive dialogue about that stat around the 50-minute mark of the final cut, I personally didn't feel the need to torture all of you guys with 5 other versions of that conversation.
89% of population, or 89% of the fraud being committed in Minnesota is by Somalians.
And just so we can put that on screen to verify, do you know where that data is from?
Yes, you can put it up on screen. It's public.
And if you watch that raw cut, the 2-hour cut, which I made clear in text with Nick that I was willing to share with him in 4K when I got back from Greenland.
I'm concerned by all of you Republicans in here. I'm very concerned about your mental health. 89% of fraud in Minnesota isn't committed by Somalis. That's a lie. And your response to that is, there's fraud in Minnesota. Duh. right? Fucking duh. I don't know if you hear words. Like, I don't know what happens when I say words and then it enters your ears and goes into your brain. I don't know if there's like a jumbler in there or something that makes you think I'm saying something different than I'm saying. But what I said is 89% of the fraud in Minnesota is not committed by Somalis. And you went, oh, dude, you're just jealous. Oh, there's fraud. Oh, so you're saying there's no fraud? I'm concerned about all of you. I'm concerned about our water, our food, our air. I don't know how in the world this many people, by voting for one man, became this. It seems intentionally stupid. It's bizarre to me to think that like real adults with brains are hearing what I'm saying and then responding with there's fraud. How did you get to be this way?
You will see exactly what I mean. This is not a Sacha Baron Cohen style ambush edit or a Jim Jeffries Avi Yemeni situation where I primed him, by saying crazy shit to get his guard down and then Shanghai him with post-production. I was trying to help Nick Shirley, which it seems up until yesterday he really appreciated. So after the interview came out about a week ago, he texted me right after saying the backdrop of this interview is hilarious. It was filmed in his uncle's upscale game room in Farmington, Utah, in front of several taxidermied bears that were presumably killed by the Shirley family. He goes on to say, fun watching the reaction from both sides. Appreciate you coming out. Wish you the best in all you do, bro. To which I replied kindly. But then the Clippers started doing the thing that they do.
My stance is that Nick Shirley is dumb. Cody, that's my stance. Nick Shirley's a dumb guy. Nick Shirley didn't expose any fraud. Nick Shirley showed you buildings and then showed you how much money the people in those buildings have received from the government. And my other argument is that now he's being a whiny little bitch because everybody realized in long form that he's dumb. And he's getting made fun of all across the internet. So he's trying to accuse Andrew Callahan of editing this to make him look dumb. But when you hear him speak in full context, still dumb.
Hunter Biden, finding the most outrageous or dumb soundbite in the entire piece and memeing it into oblivion while missing the entire point of the dialogue, which was to try to find common ground on issues like affordability and the collapse of the mainstream media.
I mean, I fundamentally hope that everything you're saying is true, just so you know.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah,
I hope we all have the best interest in society and for our people, because the affordability is insane and people can't buy houses. And if we're talking about creating change, we need to let innovation prosper inside the United States.
Yeah.
And you're not seeing it. We're not seeing innovation. In fact, we're seeing fraudsters take our money.
If you guys saw, the clip that did the most rounds was when Nick tried and failed to pronounce the word benevolent.
Who do you think are the three most benevolent billionaires?
What do you mean by the word benevolent?
Just well-intentioned, positive billionaires who you think are creating.
First of all, can I show you something? He should know this word. For a man of faith, for a man who repeatedly talks about his faith, he should know this word. It's in his articles of faith. Let me see which one it is. Why can't I pull this up? Load Control F. I think it's in the Articles of Faith. Maybe I'm mixing up which part of his faith it's from. Let me find this. Well, I'll keep this playing.
Net positive societal progress.
Trump, our president?
Because he never said it right and said benevolent twice, there was no way to cut the dead air or trim the stammer. So
there it is. It's Article of Faith. So when you're a kid in the Mormon church, you have to memorize all of these things. It's like part of like passing, like becoming getting the priesthood. You learn all this. We believe in being honest, true, chaste, benevolent, virtuous, and in doing good to all men. Indeed, we may say that we follow the admonition of Paul. It's one of the 13 core beliefs of his church. The word benevolent is in there. You should probably know that word, know how to say it, and what it means. If you're going to go then and spend 20 or 30 minutes of this interview talking about your faith, you should probably know that.
Left it in, and personally, I don't think it's that big of a deal to not know that word. I mean, he is wearing a hoodie that is making...
None of this disproves his findings because he doesn't have any fucking findings, giggity. None. He didn't find anything. He showed you buildings and told you how much money they had gotten from the government. That's the only thing that he did. He found nothing. And the findings were given to him by somebody else. If he walked into if he walked in to try and get a warrant to investigate fraud in these businesses based on the evidence that he gave you, he would never get a warrant. There would be no investigation. They would say, what are you accusing them of? Fraud. What's your evidence? Well, they didn't have kids there outside of business hours. I was there when it was closed and there were no kids there. And they got money from the government. And the investigators would say, okay, but what's that evidence of? And I'll ask you guys the same thing. What is that evidence of? Don't guess. Like, if we're talking about an actual investigation, what is that? That's journalism. It's called having connections. It's not journalism. He's stealing somebody else's work and then putting up on YouTube. I would call it theft more than anything.
Fun of immigrants for their spelling errors, but benevolent has more syllables than learning. So
there were no footprints. That's right. Sorry. Thank you, guys.
But the comments on this clip were brutal, like actually genuinely mean. And it couldn't have felt good from his perspective to read these things. We're talking tens of thousands of people declaring this guy is retarded, which he's not. But there are some moments in the interview that even with dead air trimmed for speed, Nick does not give his best performance, particularly when blaming immigrants for rising rent prices.
It's just simple supply and demand. If you have 20 million people who need to come and buy a house or rent a...
Thank you. Good question, All Def Lep. Why don't I have a septic ring? It fell out in your dad's ass, and I'd appreciate it if he would get that back to me.
Apartment, and you have other people who need it, you're going to raise the prices.
Suggesting that Muslim Americans keep multiple wives in private while dismissing the association with his own religion, Mormonism, and polygamy as just a harmful stereotype.
As far as the wives go, that's not a thing in Utah.
It's not a thing in Utah.
That's a negative stereotype.
That's a fucking lie. That is a 100% unequivocal lie. Go on TV and type in polygamy, or go to Hulu or go to Netflix and type in polygamy. And inevitably what you will find is people practicing polygamy in Utah, and the authorities are doing absolutely nothing about it. It's absolutely a thing in Utah. It's how Utah was founded. The way Utah became a state was they took their polygamists and they pushed them out, and they lied to the federal government and said, we're totally not doing polygamy anymore. It is his belief that in this world, again, polygamy will be practiced by Mormons, and that it will be practiced by him and his family in the afterlife, that he will be a polygamist. It's an absolute lie.
Negative stereotype.
And also confronting me about staying silent on the death of Charlie Kirk, while admitting that he consciously chose to not watch the video that I made in the immediate aftermath of it.
And so I thought that was kind of...
Yeah, it is a religion. It's his religion. And he's mocking Muslims for the practice of polygamy. He's trying to point out that Muslims are bad for practicing polygamy, while his own religion and his own state does it. Ask him what Mormonism has to do with fraud daycare. Did you watch this interview? He brought up his religion and Muslims multiple times. I didn't say these things. He did. I'm responding to him. What are you getting mad at me for?
Messed up of you to not publicly denounce what happened to Charlie Kirk.
I did.
And I didn't even watch the interview because I didn't want to watch that.
Well, you should watch it.
I don't want to.
Well, you should watch the video because
this is indoctrination. This is who Nick Shirley is, and this is when I tell you guys like what it's like being born and raised in a cult, the same one that he's born and raised in. If there is information outside of your worldview, you don't fucking look at it. Why? Because you believe things. Your entire ideology is based on beliefs and not facts, and your ideology cannot be swayed by facts. So he won't watch something because he's already decided Andrew Callahan didn't address Charlie Kirk. And since he's already decided that, now he doesn't want to watch the interview because that would fuck up his deeply held beliefs that Andrew Callahan didn't address what happened to Charlie Kirk. Whenever you run into somebody like this and they take their religious cult ideology and apply it to the rest of their lives, this is not a person to trust, ever. They will believe whatever they want to believe in the face of evidence.
Say some stuff in it.
Okay, cool.
None of these moments were a very good look for Nick, but I did not engineer them that way. And if I was a betting man, I would suggest that much of the hostility displayed toward him in the comments is because his reporting, which was signal boosted by Trump and his cronies, has been a driving factor in ICE's decision to escalate their presence in Minneapolis. You know, kidnapping kids from local high schools, terrorizing U.S. citizens in their own communities, shooting people in the streets, and hiding behind masks like the goddamn cowards they are. However, that's just my personal opinion. I don't like ICE. I don't like Trump, which is something that I made clear to Nick in the interview.
What do you think about Trump?
I don't like him. There was no deception anywhere, but sometimes, and I'm not sure what the word is.
We did watch the original version. We watched the entire thing.
For this in the journalism field, the person that you interview views your fans as an extension of you. So if your fans are dicks to them, they kind of feel like that's you shading them. And that's definitely what happened. Right after the benevolent clip went micro-viral, Nick began to send texts to me that alluded to the footage being manipulated, writing, "Greenland will be epic and cold. Let me know if you need any locals. I still have some contacts there. Just curious though, why didn't you post a full 2+ hour interview instead of the selected 1 hour of the interview?" Notice the word selected.
This is what I'm talking about here. Like with John Anderson. Everybody pay attention to John Anderson in the chat. He said he's chopped it up to make him look bad. We're watching the full unedited stuff here now. Everything that Nick Shirley has claimed was chopped up to make him look bad. Now Andrew Callahan is showing the full version, and Nick doesn't look better. You guys are just outrage machines. You wake up every day looking for something to be outraged about. And in this case, it's that a dumb guy that you all believed has been exposed as a dumb guy. And rather than accepting, he's just a dumb guy, you're going to blame him. He's actually not dumb. It's just cameras make you look dumb.
Nick suggests that I cherry-picked his worst moments, which is concerning because we consciously did the opposite. But as you can see from these texts, I explained our entire editing process to him, as I did to all of you, and as I mentioned, even offered to send him all of the raw video files when I get home from Greenland, which I'm doing now, and gave him full permission to clip any and all moments of the piece for his own socials. Fast forward to 2 days later. I wake up in Nuuk, Greenland to see that Nick has posted the video filmed on a sly side camera, captioned something like, "In case you guys want to know how the interview really went."
Discernment is made up, dipshit. Again, we're just going to expose your entire cult ideology here. Discernment is something that is prevalent in my religion with Nick. And discernment basically means that some people can just tell. You just know. You can just tell by looking at somebody if they're telling the truth or not. And it's why, like, when as Nick grew up and he went in and he confessed his sins to his bishop, and his bishop asked him very detailed questions about how he masturbated or if he touched a girl's boob and what boob it was, and did they do anything else? Explain specifically the sexual acts you did with your girlfriend and with yourself. Then the bishop, with discernment, could say, yeah, I do think that he actually is sorry for this. And so I will choose the punishment for Nick for masturbating because I have discernment. If you're a person who's talking about discernment, you are a person who is always going to be easily manipulated.
Here's this. Nick's bullshit crybaby video here points to...
What the fuck am I saying? Oh, Nick grew up in a religion where from the time you're 12 until the day you die, you have to go in and confess your sins to a bishop. And masturbating, for example, is a sin in the Mormon church. And if you masturbate, you are required to confess that one-on-one with another adult male with the door shut. And they'll ask you very pointed questions about the details of what you masturbated to, how you did it. If you have like a girlfriend or a boyfriend and you're sexually active in any way, they'll ask you details. For me, it was like, it's going to be graphic, but legitimately, like, how many fingers did you use? Did you orgasm? What color underwear was she wearing? Things like that. That's how he was raised. And so when I see some dumbass in here talking about discernment, yeah, you don't have it either, bud. You don't have it either. If you voted for Trump, like, no, you don't have it because it's made up. It's a made up thing that people use to try and control others so that you don't have to explain your argument. You just go, I have common sense. I have discernment. Meaning, I'm not going to fucking read anything. I'm not going to learn something new. I'm just going to rely on what the good Lord gave me. That was good enough.
2 pieces of damning evidence. Exhibit A. Nick grills me here about Democrat cities being catastrophic failures after failing to understand that I am not a supporter of the Democrat Party. I am from Seattle, a failed blue city, and then asks me to name thriving blue cities. So I named Austin, Nashville, El Paso, and then while smirking, I mentioned Denver because as shown in Nick's angle, I didn't actually know if Denver was doing well because I don't spend much time in Colorado.
Like, when have you seen an American city, what American city is prospering right now?
Big Boat, I'll take your apology now. It said, I don't know what discernment is. The ability to judge well, perceive subtle differences, and make sound decisions by seeing beyond the obvious, blending insight, wisdom, and careful evaluation of details, motives, and situations. So when I described a bishop listening to a kid about what they do in their alone time and then say, well, I can tell that he really is sorry, that he really does want to be forgiven. It's literally called the power of discernment. It's something that when you are ordained a bishop in the Mormon church, they give you a gift from God, and they call it the power of discernment. They put a little bit of olive oil on your head, they put their hands on top of your head, and they give you a blessing in the name of God, and they give you the power of discernment for others. Not everybody gets the power of discernment for others, just men in the Mormon church, and they have to be given it by other men who are speaking for God. I fucking nailed it, Big Boat. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Apparently you didn't look that up. You just relied on common sense. I nailed it, Big Boat. I fucking nailed it. I know what I'm talking about with this. I know about the Mormon religion. I know about discernment. I nailed it, and you need to apologize because I nailed it. Your boat is little.
Austin.
Austin, name another one.
El Paso, Texas.
El Paso, Texas is prospering.
Yeah, I think.
Why you think?
It's doing better. New bars and restaurants have opened, but I can probably think of some better examples.
Like what?
Nashville's doing good. Austin's doing good. Phoenix is doing good. Basically, any place with low state tax is getting a lot of.
In any place that's not Democrat.
Katrina says, RTP, how many fingers did you use? Knock it off, first of all. Corvette Girl said, sorry, I've slacked on supporting you lately here. Here you go. Victoria's Secret and Smith & Wesson are merging. The new company is called Titty Bang Bang. Thank you. Also, Sophia said, just shouting Iceland does not love Trump nor call him daddy. He's lost it. We'll get to that in a minute.
I don't know about that. I mean,
name a Democrat city that's prospering right now.
Well, it would have to be one that's affordable.
Name one.
A city inside of a blue state that is prospering. Denver.
Why are you smirking?
Nick goes quiet. He just stares at him. Now, this is the part Nick tried to say, was dishonest. But notice when Nick showed the clip, Andrew's going to respond here that he's not really sure. Nick then cut it there. So Nick also edited this. He did exactly what he accused Andrew Callahan of.
Because I don't know if it's prospering or not.
It's not.
I'm just,
Are you providing evidence that it's not, Nick? Oh, it's just not.
See, you can't even answer the question, dude. It's
no.
not prospering. Denver's not prospering either.
But in post-production, I did some research and found out that my intuition was correct. Denver is currently experiencing a decline in violence and property crime, a large influx in population, job growth in the aerospace, tech, and healthcare sectors, and a number of other great things. So I
Real journalist versus Nick, not a journalist. Using facts, using data, going back, addressing concerns, addressing something clipped out of context, and doing it with facts and data. That's the difference between Andrew Callahan and Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley is a content creator. He's not a journalist.
chose to trim a brief section after I mentioned Denver that indicates a bit of self-doubt, given that I ended up being correct. I also trimmed a soundbite where I said that many Democrat cities are run poorly because it was redundant. After our conversation about Denver, I then launched into a tirade about how I am not a Democrat, don't believe in the capacity of the two-party system to enact meaningful change, believe that Gavin Newsom has misappropriated California's tax revenue through NGOs, reinforce my belief in voting on a local level, and then give Nick the benefit of the doubt and say that I hope he's right about Trump and the GOP's ability to mitigate the affordability crisis that's made many places like my hometown, Seattle, unlivable for those who grew up there.
So I support voting on a local level.
See, that's pretty unbiased. He's talking about living in Seattle. He specifically, in the original interview, addressed how Seattle was ruined by Amazon, how Amazon came in, bulldozed affordable housing, and turned it into like their own little campus, and now it's unaffordable. So he's not afraid to call out Democrats. He's not afraid to call out blue cities who kowtow to corporations. But he's correct to point out that the blue cities that do well are the ones that push back against corporations, not the ones that openly embrace it. He is on a plane. It's weird. I don't know. He's very alone on this plane. I don't know how he pulled that off.
For sure. I also suggest if you're watching this and you want to see videos.
I should try not to be biased by showing both sides of the argument, John. We're showing both sides of the argument here right now.
That I've made about dysfunctional blue cities.
Why don't you just suck Trump's dick like us? We're not biased.
Watch San Francisco streets, Albuquerque streets, Las Vegas tunnels, and Philly streets. So the second clip that Nick posted really makes my blood boil because it is so disingenuous. As I mentioned, 6 or 7 times in this interview, Nick references the stat that 89% of fraud in Minnesota is committed by Somalis. We aired the version where we asked him to show us the data on his phone, which he found using Google search results powered by ChatGPT. So in the video he posted, you can see me look in the camera after he...
Chris said, did you finger the rug? Be honest. No.
Shows it to me and saying something like, all right, damn, I guess he's right then. Let's put that on screen.
Here, right here, the figure 89% does not represent the total percentage of all fraud in Minnesota. Instead, it refers to the percentage of individuals charged in connection with specific high-profile federal fraud cases. Millions.
Okay, remember, real quick, he said 89% of fraud in Minnesota is committed by Somalis. He says Somalians, it's supposed to be Somali. That's his claim. Now, 89% of fraud committed by Somalis. When he shows this now, and we show the screenshot, it's going to prove that that's not true. And the Republicans in the chat will just go, you know what he meant. You know what he meant. That's what's going to happen here. I'm predicting it. They're going to do it anyways.
89% of those charged in connection with major... Wow.
Identified as Somalian Americans.
Well, looks like it looks like
I'm interested to see what you put in this interview because
looks like there is a problem with fraud.
He is kind of right. However, the stat refers specifically to the already litigated Feeding Our Future case, which resulted in over 60 fraud convictions in Minnesota. The ringleader of the nonprofit behind the scam, Amy Bach, is...
You guys ever heard Nick Shirley talk about the ringleader of all this fraud, Amy Bach? Do you think he knows the name Amy Bach? I bet he doesn't. Is he using a statistic from the Biden era in Tim Walz's estate where they investigated, prosecuted, and convicted Amy Bach and others? No, he doesn't bring that up. So 89% of the people in this particular fraud case were Somali Americans. But what Nick said is that 89% of fraud that happens in Minnesota is Somalians. So he was wrong. And even his own fact check shows that he's wrong, and he's too stupid to realize it.
White, but it is true that 89%...
She's a liberal, so you can't talk about Amy. Oh, I'm sorry. Is Nick a liberal? I talked about Amy Bach. It's only liberals that seem to know that Amy Bach exists. How come your guy didn't talk about Amy Bach? Is he a liberal? He's following the liberal rules to not talk about Amy Bach. The Democrats prosecuted and convicted Amy Bach. But yeah, but it's us. We're the ones keeping it from you. The amount of dumb that exists in this chat right now, collectively, is astounding. You will be presented with facts in front of your face and deny them. It's common sense, bro.
Of convicted defendants in that case were Somali. And that's what makes me so pissed about this particular piece of evidence that Nick presents.
Shut up, dude. Shh. Dude, shut up. Stop talking about this. I know. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. The whole show today, by the way, is going to be uncomfortable. Because when we're done with this, I'm going to show you Donald Trump. The whole show today is going to be showing how stupid everybody you think our heroes are. And you're not going to get any of it. It's not really for you. You're welcome to stay here. It's going to be far too confusing. I only think with my feelers. So it's going to be tough on you, but telling me to be quiet is not going to work.
The exact thing that he is showing me on his phone in the video is what I put on screen on the final cut. I did exactly what I said I would. He frames my decision to put that on screen as some kind of like liberal ball-busting fact check, but it's actually supplemental context for something he is literally fucking showing me, which is why it pisses me off. So that's all I have to say. I'm just in a phase in my life where I've been doing this for so long and I care about this so much that I don't want to play these kind of games, especially with people who can't take an L. I want to put my credibility on the line by spinning things in a way that benefits their reputation.
He literally went out of his way to try and make me look bad, which is not cool. And I wouldn't say that's like very benevolent of him to do.
I think my policy.
Nice joke. So funny, Nick.
Moving forward, especially when working with people who are filming their own versions of things and lack the integrity to be honest with their fan base, is to either go live during every interview or upload the full raw files on Patreon the moment a Final Cut hits YouTube, so there's no room for these kinds of shenanigans, because it's exhausting and I've got real investigations and real documentaries in the field, in the works, that I need to prioritize over these malevolent antics. 2026, keep my fucking name out your mouth. 5.
Channel 5! Somebody said, can we talk about Raquel Pacheco? We did cover that story yesterday, so you can go back and check that from yesterday. David said, quit harassing RTP about the time he lost his promise ring. It turns him all red and awkward. It's true. Amy said, why is it blue cities and red states do the worst? I know in Memphis, the Democrat mayor bagged the Republican governor, or I'm assuming begged the Republican governor to allow law changes to fight crime. The Republican would not allow him to fight crime. Johnny said, how many fingers? Question is, how many knuckles? Good Lord, you guys are a mess. Amy said, fun fact, Seattle is seeing record new business growth. People are moving to Seattle and crime numbers are down. That's true. We are seeing, there were a lot of problems in Seattle, and we are seeing a revitalization. My mother lives there. Corvette Girl said, oh, I got that one. Did I miss any here? Don't think I missed any there. Get any. Shelly said, keep up the good work. Love the show. Thank you. Dustin said, I heard this unicorn's very horny. Just saying. For anybody who missed that earlier. All right, there's dummy Nick Shirley trying his best to call out Andrew Callahan, and it backfires spectacularly, unless you're MAGA, in which case Nick Shirley could have went on video and said, Andrew Callahan lied, and here's proof, and then let out a 45-second fart, and every MAGA would be like, fucking nailed it, dude. That's a real journalist right there. See? Would you let out a 45-second fart if you were lying? Then they come up with some weird-ass excuse like that. But I appreciate you guys playing along here and trying to defend Nick. I'm sure he appreciates that. I want to actually do this real quick first, and then we're going to move on to Trump. I'm going to skip number 3. This is the worst debate I've ever seen in my life. But I think it's important because I want to show, it's going to be hard to listen to. I want to show what Sean Hannity is. Sean Hannity has this new idea that he's going to bring on Democrats and he's going to debate them. And he brought on Justin Jones from Tennessee. And Justin Jones, to be fair here, didn't appear to want to debate. This seemed like a really bad TikTok debate where they talk over each other. But while they talk over each other, I want you to pay attention. One of these people is a politician. One of these people is allegedly a nonpartisan journalist. And it gets very upset if you call them a propagandist. And we'll see. You can see what the right is actively trying to do. We watched Trump's press conference yesterday. Greg Bovino did the same thing. They're just showing pictures of criminals all day and saying, hey, why aren't you talking about these criminals? Because that's silly. Right? Why would we ignore crimes committed by our government to focus on individual criminals that you have already arrested? They're openly just saying, like, why don't you just celebrate us and cheerlead us? Why are you being critical? And MAGA's going, yeah, why are you guys being critical? Why don't you just open your mouth and baby bird it? So I wanted to show the difference between Sean Hannity and Justin Jones here.
As far as to compare ICE, a federal law enforcement agency, even to the KKK. Take a look.
We need agitation before, collaboration. In my state here in Tennessee, we're seeing the opposite of what we're seeing in Minnesota, where we're having the state government partner with these terror agents from ICE and say, how can we expedite this and how can we increase and expand these operations in our state? And so we are saying that we must agitate before we collaborate with these forces of violence. And it's not the first time we face them. Here in Tennessee, we had another terror group who used to wear masks and hide their identities, known as the KKK. And our the folks we're celebrating this week, the civil rights movement, Dr. King took them on, 10 toes down, their heads up, saying that, what we're doing is for generations yet unborn.
Now, the man you saw in that clip is Democratic Tennessee State Representative Justin Jones. Now, he was briefly famous back in 2023 when Jones and some of his colleagues tried to get strict gun control passed in Deep Red, Tennessee, by staging a loud protest on the floor of the State Assembly chamber. Representative Jones was then expelled, kicked out of his seat by a majority vote in the Assembly, and became a hero on the left for his efforts, and even got to meet with Joe Biden in the Oval Office, and he has since.
Yep. The heroes of history are not the people who stand by quietly and cheerlead the government. Never once have those been the heroes. Those are the cowards every time. Those are the enablers every time. That's Sean Hannity. Remember, this is the same Sean Hannity that cheerleaded us into Iraq, that cheerleaded us into Afghanistan, that cheerleads every bad decision this government has made in his 30-plus years of broadcasting. Every last one of them. He's been a partisan hack for as long as he has been doing this job. Anybody who says otherwise, you're lying. This is not a real news organization. When they go to court, they tell the courts, we're not a news organization. We're entertainment. Nobody should take us seriously. And despite openly saying that in court, they are still the most trusted news source for conservatives, which is fucking crazy. Right? Like, how is your most trusted news source the only one that when they go to court says, hey, we're not news and nobody should take us seriously because we are specifically not news? They're the only news organization that has been sued for willfully, purposefully lying to their viewers in order to protect the stock price. They all lied about COVID, and they all lied about the 2020 election being stolen, and you can read their emails where they're admitting behind the scenes that they were lying about all of this, and it didn't change any Fox viewers' minds because all you want is is somebody to confirm your own bias. That's why you like Fox. You turn it on, they tell you that the left is bad and that you guys are the heroes, and that if all you have to do is keep hating the left and everything will get better. Yeah, fair and balanced, my left nut.
It's been reelected to the Assembly. Clearly, Representative Jones has deep convictions, and now he has turned his ire against federal
My rug's dirty and needs a good soaking. Interested? No.
Law enforcement. He now wants to abolish ICE. He is openly comparing it to one of the most murderous, violent, notorious, racist, hateful, evil, domestic terror groups in American history.
And he's doing it fairly, by the way. We'll get up to the data on that. Amy Lynn said, never once in U.S. history has a conservative won a war abroad or domestically. Every win has been done by progressives. Raise your Dixie flag. That is similar to the white flag.
He's here to answer the question, why? Democratic's Tennessee State Representative Justin Jones is with us. All right. Justin, thank you for being here. Appreciate your time. Now I got a question. On the screen, I'm going to scroll.
Now you tell me, after the show yesterday, you tell me where Sean Hannity got the idea to do this.
The victims, you live in Tennessee. You're a state rep in Tennessee, correct?
Correct, Sean, and I'm glad you don't even have to go through the theatrics of scrolling a list. I'm glad you brought up a list because if you want to hold on, Sean.
You don't have to go through the theatrics of showing a list. Oh, I have to. I have to do this because I don't want to discuss it. I just want to pull up a list. And this is what Hannity and all Republicans are going to do rather than address his real concerns. And Justin's real concerns are that ICE is acting extrajudiciously. And rather than have that debate from Sean Hannity, what Sean Hannity wants to do is play gotcha journalism and say, here's a list of people who are victims. Have you talked to any of them? What does that prove? He's not interested in a debate. He's interested in smearing. He's interested in bringing on Justin Jones and saying, you don't actually care about this because you haven't talked to any of these victims, which is completely irrelevant. You don't have to talk to the victims to be upset at ICE. These are two different people. Like, yeah, these victims were hurt by people who were here illegally, individuals. And I would just ask you conservatives why it is that you only extend this logic when it comes to Democrats or minorities. How come every time I have a Christian on, I don't scroll a list of children's abused by white Christian men? Would that be silly if I did that? If every time a white Christian man came up here, I scrolled a list of children who were abused by white Christian men and said, have you talked to any of these victims? It wouldn't prove anything, right? It would just be me discrediting you before you can say anything, which is exactly what Sean Hannity's trying to do, which is exactly why Justin Jones didn't take the bait, and is exactly why we're going to have to try and sift through this debate and figure out what the fuck they're talking about.
If you want to have me as a guest on your show, invite me. No, I'm scrolling the names, not for your benefit, but for the benefit of our listeners, so that they can know the victims of crime in your state. And I'm glad you're
How does knowing the names of the victims help the listeners understand Justin Jones's criticism of ICE? It doesn't, right? Everybody knows that it doesn't. And the reason that the conservatives that are watching this right now are like, yeah, do this, is because they know what's coming. They just don't want to hear uncomfortable information. They don't want to hear what ICE has been up to. They don't want to hear that ICE is like, there's a really fair comparison between the Triple K and ICE. I'll show you the data.
I want to ask you a question about it.
I'm glad you're bringing up a list, because if you want to go after rapists and criminals, you would stop hanging out with perverts in the White House and pedophiles in the White House, Sean.
Justin, you're not going to get the filibuster. I have a question.
On here.
I have a question. I'm scrolling the names of victims of violent crime. By the way, homicide, rape, sexual assault of
are you going through Trump charges, or
and sodomy,
are you going through Trump charges
and drugs? So my question to you is simple. My question in the White House.
Why is this relevant? Remember when I told you, like, the Republicans will say this, like they'll think this is good? What does this prove? You brought him on because you think that his criticism of ICE is unfair. Talk to him about his criticism of ICE. Why are you asking him about victims? Why are you asking him on whether or not he has talked to victims? Because you also don't want to talk about it, Sean Hannity, and you, Republicans in the chat, don't want to talk about it. You do not care about any of these people that are being scrolled either. None of you knew these names either. Why? Because there's violent crime in this country every single day. And we don't know everybody's name. And when we do know somebody's name, it's usually because the government is the one who hurt them. And I pay taxes to the government to not hurt people. So if you're going to be critical of a body that is causing harm, it's the government. There's no body that's causing harm here to these people. These are individuals committing crimes. Unless we are now going to say that any crime committed by a person, you then must take their ethnicity and their religious beliefs and their political beliefs and pool everybody else together. In which case, I don't know why, MAGA, you guys all bombed the FBI building in Oklahoma City. Why'd you do that? Why'd you all storm the Capitol on January 6th? It's a silly thing to do, right? Sean Hannity doesn't want to have this discussion. Republicans, remember, are terrified of having the discussion.
So what are we talking about?
My question is, if you'll pay attention long enough to listen, my question is simple. Can you name any of the victims of violent crime by illegals in your state? And have you ever called any of them?
To your viewers, this man wants you to be afraid. He wants you to be fearful of your immigrant neighbors because he wants to protect the billionaires who keep you from.
Why is it important to answer that? I'll ask the MAGA. Why is it important that he be able to answer that question? How will that prove that his criticisms of ICE are not warranted? Anybody want to explain that to me? Sean Hannity said I'm bringing him on because he was critical of ICE. I want to talk to him about his criticisms of ICE. Why aren't we talking about his criticisms of ICE? What exactly? Oh, well, Voltron, we could figure out what criticisms if Sean Hannity wasn't focused on trying to get him to name a name.
One victim of violent crime
he does
in
not
your
care about
state.
Crime. He hangs out with pedophiles and criminals in Mar-a-Lago.
Answer?
He does not care about going after rapists.
Can
he
you
cares
answer?
about keeping you fearful, to control you, because he wants to distract you from the real enemy, which are the corporate CEOs who are screwing you over.
Okay.
Sean Hannity is paid by billionaires to not talk about the people that are really hurting you, which are the corporations, the CEOs, and the billionaires. They actually cause real problems in your life. Immigrants don't. And Sean Hannity wants you to be scared, so he's going to talk about these crimes rather than what he claimed he was going to talk to Justin Jones about here, which is his criticisms of ICE. Sean Hannity gets paid $40 million a year to make you guys mad and keep you guys living in fear, and he does a hell of a job, and you just eat it up.
You got your little talking point out? You feel good about yourself? This is not MSDNC. I'm asking you again.
Is what
pay
looks like
close
the KKK.
attention.
Mass agents.
You're comparing the KKK. What do you know about the KKK? Do you know
I come
a lot
from
about
Tennessee,
the
where the
Gestapo?
KKK
Do you
was
know what the
founded.
KKK
They ran my
did?
grandparents out of Tennessee. They ran my grandparents out of Tennessee.
At least you know some
my dad was a
victims of
U.S.
crime.
Marine. He
They
fought
were
for this country.
murderers. They
Who have
hung
you
people.
served,
They
Sean, beside
assassinated
your
people.
pocketbook?
His family's run out of Tennessee by Triple K. His dad then serves in the military. What'd Sean Hannity do? Got spoon-fed Nepo baby who talks tough on TV? Just does the bidding of billionaires? We got you, billionaires. Don't worry. We won't let people criticize you. We're gonna blame brown people for everything.
Racist and Gestapo.
Yes.
They
and
led
just
people
like the
to
President
their
of the United
death.
States.
And you're
Masked
comparing
men,
law
masked
enforcement
men,
that are arresting
masked men
those
are
criminals
shooting mothers in the face.
to those people.
Shooting mothers in the face. Shooting mothers in the face. Bringing grandfathers
right.
out in the snow with boxers
But that's
on.
not ICE. But that's not
Tear
ICE. Now I have a
gassing
question.
mothers and babies.
Wait, that's not ICE? What's he talking about? That's not ICE. These are all actions by ICE. Is Sean Hannity confused here?
My question
what
remains.
ICE is doing.
Can you name a single victim of crime in your state by illegal immigrants? Yes or no?
I can name the people who are being criminalized by this administration and mass agents who are kidnapping
Can you
people in our
name your
community.
state representative?
You want to go through a list? Go through the list
can't name
of the pedophiles
one
and perverts
victim
you
of
hang out with at
crime.
Mar-a-Lago. Go through that list.
By the elite.
That's not the role of a politician. This is such a dumb fucking question. And this is where we're at with MAGA at this point. Like, you guys have lost every fucking argument to the point now that you're just like, if you can't list specific people who have been victims of crime, then you can't talk about the government committing crimes upon the American people. That's the argument that we're left with right now. And how big of a bitch do you have to be to sit here and listen to this and agree with this shit? Oh, yeah, that's true. It's very true that if you can't name one of these victims, then you can't complain about the government. We're supposed to just have the government do what they want to do, and we jack them off and tell them how pretty they look doing it. Unless it's Democrats, in which case we will just make shit up. If you don't know that our government is arresting, detaining, beating, assaulting United States citizens, then you're just fucking stupid. Pull your head out of your ass or Trump's ass or whatever asshole your head is in. Pull it the fuck out. Our government doesn't get this wiggle room. They should not get wiggle room where they're allowed to beat people senseless who are citizens of this country because the citizen of this country didn't want to play Gestapo with them in the street. A man should not be in his bed, yanked out of bed, and walked through icy streets in the snow with no clothes on because the man in his bed refused to give ICE his ID when ICE entered his home, which they can't do. They didn't have a warrant to do it. You can't do that in this country, but the only reason we're allowed to do it is you dumb motherfucking weak-ass dick-sucking MAGA. I'm sick of you motherfuckers. I'm so fucking sick of you. Get the government's dick out of your mouth. Why are we a police state now? Why are you advocating for this shit? Well, I love it when the government hurts citizens. Fuck around and find out. What the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck happened to this country? Our president's in Davos right now getting mocked by every other fucking country. I don't know a single country who's looking at us and going, yeah, they've got it together. Everybody else in the world's going, oh shit, we've seen this before. Oh, this isn't good. Not you guys. I love this. I love when our government is used against us. You can be against illegal immigration. You can be against heinous crimes committed by people who are here illegally. You can be a fan of deportation. You can advocate for mass deportation and still criticize the government when they overstep their boundaries. It's called fucking nuance. You can do that. But you guys choose not to do that. You choose instead to 100% of the time suck the dick of the government. I will not criticize the government. I will make excuses for them every step of the way. You can hold a nuanced position. How many times in the chat today has somebody been like, Obama deported more people and you didn't talk about it? Yeah, no shit. Why do you think that was? Well, it's just because Trump's president. Well, we didn't talk about it the first time either when Trump was president. So what's different? Oh, it might be the masked agents that we have on film beating American citizens, shooting a woman in the face 3 times. It could be that. Oh, no, it's just partisanship. You guys don't care about that. It's mass psychosis for you folks. All your leadership's in on it too. Look at Sean Hannity. He's losing his fucking mind. He brought a guy on to have a debate about why this man thinks ICE is overstepping the law. And instead of having this debate, he wants to scream at him about how he doesn't know any of these names, which is fucking irrelevant to the discussion. It's entirely fucking irrelevant to this discussion. But Sean Hannity doesn't want this discussion, just like you guys don't want this discussion. Because every time we have this discussion, you guys try and change the subject, or you bring up Obama, or you try and play victim. If you think it's a good thing for the government to beat on citizens, just stand up and say, I'm a fascist. I'd respect you more, but like it's this hide behind a screen name. I'm not a fascist. I'm just a fascist. I'm not going to say it. I don't want Americans being beaten in the streets by the police. I don't want the police storming into people's homes without a warrant and dragging people out into the streets. That's what people are opposed to. By the way, we'll get to these numbers here. Justin Jones brought up the time his grandparents were in Tennessee and they were run out of Tennessee and they were harassed and threatened by the KKK. During that time, which is between like the 50s and 70s, do you know how many confirmed people were killed by that group? Take a guess. How many did those hooded dipshits kill during that time? 259, good guess. 0, another good guess. The answer is 4. The answer is 4. Do you mind how many people since Trump took office have been killed in ICE custody? You know that number? Oh, some of you have it. Daily Consumer, a lot of you have it. 37. So when Justin Jones says, when he compares a masked Gestapo to this group, because I don't know if we're allowed to say it, the Klan, he might be underselling it. Because the time that we all agree, like his parents shouldn't have been treated that way, they were harassed. Now let me just also say this. Those are people who have died, so I'm not counting assaults. Most of the crimes committed by that group during that time were whipping, beating, sexual assault, people being tied up, left overnight, hung upside down. I'm not trying to say they weren't doing violence, but so is ICE. ICE is also violently assaulting people. So when he's making this comparison statistically, the only difference here is that the Klan was not run by the government. In this case, the Klan is run by the government. And he works for the government, and he's advocating that our government stop killing people. He's right. Sean Hannity's a squirmy little bitch. And for any one of you who can't look at this data and you get mad at me, I just want to say to you, each of you, every one of you calling me a traitor, you're bitches. You're bitches. I can't be a traitor to the United States by advocating that the government stop killing its citizens. Being a traitor is what you bitches are doing. You don't care about the United States anymore. You sold out to Donald Trump. You're not adherent to the principles of the Constitution. You're not, for God's sakes, you're not adherent to the Constitution itself. Donald Trump is literally pardoning people who have been convicted of seditious conspiracy, actual traitors to this country. He openly takes money from people who advocate ending democracy, getting rid of voting altogether. You are the traitors. You can't call somebody a traitor for criticizing the government when that's what we're supposed to fucking do. Licking the balls of the government is not what keeps you from being a traitor. I'm not selling out to another country. I'm asking our country to keep our laws. And you're going, well, if you say bad things about Trump, you're a traitor. Take a look in the mirror, please. Take a look at that logic for a second, would you? If my argument is that ICE is breaking the law, and your argument is that by me saying that, I'm a traitor, right? Next step would be traitor to what? If you advocate for breaking the law, you're a traitor to the Constitution. You're a traitor to this country. You are a traitor to the founding principles of this country. If I am using my First Amendment right of the press and of speech to criticize the government for injuring American citizens outside of the law, I'm doing exactly what the Constitution was designed to do. And you guys are licking diapered assholes. You don't know what words mean. You don't know how any of this stuff seems to work. You have bastardized the word traitor. You've bastardized the word patriot. You are nothing but fans of Donald Trump. He doesn't give a fuck about you. But your entire identity now has become Donald Trump. And anybody who casts a light on how goddamn stupid that is becomes a traitor in your mind. Again, I'll say it again. You will lose. Fascists always lose. 100% of the time, they lose. I don't know when it's going to happen. Might be the midterms. Might be 2028. Might be 2032. We might have a whole ass fascist takeover, but eventually you will lose. And all of this chat is saved forever. And people will be able to see their parents and their grandparents in this chat cheerleading on a masked Gestapo. Going, yeah, hell yeah, get them, boys. And your kids and your grandkids, if your dick works, they will see this and they'll be like, ah, damn, I didn't know Grandpa was a cowardly little bitch. I didn't know Grandpa was such a boot-licking bitch. God, Grandpa always talked like he was tough. He always talked like he loved this country. How come when it came time to defend the principles of this country, Grandpa got on his knees? Why is Grandpa's nose always orange? What's going on with that? Is it stained? Why does he have an orange nose? That's weird. What's in that box in the closet? What's all this? What's MAGA? What's that? Why does he hide it in the closet? That's how history will remember you. You can take shots at me. It's not going to affect us at all. To those who are in the fight, to those who are watching this unfold, and to those who are using your voice, history will remember you well. And you will be able to look yourself in the mirror years down the road without lying. You can look at yourself and say, you know what? Whatever little part I played here, whether it was I was just reposting content, I went out and I voted, I went out and I protested, I wrote letters to members of Congress. I pushed back when people tried to tell me that the president wasn't covering up for a cabal of pedophiles. I did my part. You'll be able to look yourself in the mirror, and you might have regrets like I could have done more, but the rest of you MAGA motherfuckers, you're going to lie repeatedly. And all of this stuff is here for history. This is a different time in history for fascism. The fascists before, they wrote in journals they could hide that. You don't get to hide this. So history will remember when Donald Trump, a senile lunatic, at the behest of his billionaire overlords, tried to overthrow the United States and undo the Constitution and declare war on all of our allies and burn all of our trade deals. History will remember you, the bitch-ass cheerleaders that stood by while a senile strongman took the reins. Good luck being proud of that. And why are you proud now? I love this, dude. I fucking love authoritarians. Maybe if your dad's hugged you a little bit, you wouldn't be this fucked up. I bet your dad loves you. Just for the record, I bet your dad loves you. His dad just didn't hug him either. His dad was probably a little meaner than your dad was to you. And you'll be a little less mean than your dad was. And eventually, like, you'll get out of this. Eventually, like, somewhere down the line, somebody in your family is going to be like, hey, what if I was just, like, compassionate? What if I didn't pass my generational trauma along to my sons? What if I didn't tell my kids they were gay if they had feelings? What if we just did that? What if I didn't call my kid a pussy if he cried? What if I did that? That's how Trump is who he is. Trump's dad was a piece of shit. Trump was a piece of shit. Trump treated his kids shitty. His kids fucking hated him. Don Jr. didn't talk to his dad for like 7 years. How many of you don't talk to your dad for 7 years? Donald Trump's brother, the alcoholic, his dad basically told him that his job as a pilot, he was a taxi driver. He was a glorified taxi driver. And the Trump name meant more than that. He should do something in finance or he should do something in real estate. His brother just loved being a pilot. But his brother never was accepted by his dad. His brother turned to alcoholism. Donald Trump also wasn't accepted by his dad. So what did he turn into? A bully, an asshole, a narcissist. It passed that right along to his kids. Probably abused a bunch of kids along the way. It's what it's looking like. His only friends, his only like long-term friends are all in the Epstein files. His best, the friend that you can tie him to the longest is Jeffrey Epstein. All of these other people that are friends with Donald Trump now, they've been his friend for the last couple of years. But the only ones that he was friends with for a long time, they're all in the Epstein files, including Jeffrey Epstein, who was his best friend for a very long time. It's kind of hard to explain how somebody could be best friends with Jeffrey Epstein and not know that this shit was going on. Kind of hard to believe that like Donald Trump is sending people from Mar-a-Lago, young girls from Mar-a-Lago, and sending them on house calls to Jeffrey Epstein and not know what's going on. It's bizarre for Donald Trump to have a quote that says, I like Jeffrey, good God, we've been friends for many years. He loves beautiful women as much as I do. His are on the younger side though. All the evidence in the world points to that this guy is not only a sexual abuser, but that he's an enabler of the most notorious pedophiles, and he's currently covering up for it. And you think history is going to remember you well? History is going to remember you guys covering for this shit? Look, they don't give a fuck. History is not going to give a single solitary fuck about tax cuts. They're not going to care about drill, baby, drill. They're not going to care about America first. They're going to look back at this time period and be like, wait, so the most notorious pedophile of all time in our country's history, we didn't get his records because the president of the United States wouldn't release them after he signed a law? And if you guys still have like, it's not going to work. You think 80 years from now when somebody's like, wait, hold on. So you voted for Trump. He signed a law saying he was going to release the Epstein files. Then he didn't do it. Then his Department of Justice told the courts, you don't have the authority to make us do it, and you can't assign somebody else to do it. You have no authority to do this. You think that 80 years from now, you going, yeah, well, Joe Biden didn't release them either. They're not going to fucking care because they're just going to ask you why you supported it. There's no record of Democrats. There's nowhere you can find me on a clip in a chat anywhere or any of us in a chat going, oh, Biden shouldn't release the Epstein files. He might not have done it, but there's no record of us defending it. There's a record of you guys defending it, and it's happening right now. That's who you will go down in history as. Cool. Enjoy it. Some of us don't want to be remembered that way. Some of us have humanity, empathy. Some of us don't give a fuck which powerful people go down. You guys do, because you're in a cult. So stop calling us traitors when you've sold out your entire identity, political ideology, and your souls to Donald Trump. This guy Fox says, even Rogan thinks ICE is acting like the Gestapo. Literally anybody who isn't just like waking up sniffing Trump's ass knows what's going on. Like Trump is underwater. You can look at the data on every issue, on literally every issue. Trump is underwater. He's below 50% polling on every single issue. I don't know that that's ever happened for any president ever. And that's what happens when you're just out here like protecting pedophiles. People start to see you for maybe not a great leader, and then they start to see your record as it actually is and not as what you're saying. See, the MAGA here that's still protecting him, they still view his record through his eyes. They still think that he's telling you the truth and that the truth someday will come out. All these things that he doesn't have evidence for, eventually the truth will come out and they will be vindicated. That's how end of times cults work. And then they just all die. It never comes true. I grew up in an end of times cult. Like the amount of people who were told, promised by God that they would see the return of Jesus who are dead now, it's like in the millions of people. This is what they do. They just keep pushing it off on you. Like, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It never shows up, but you don't care because all you need is for them to tell you, we're still not lying to you. Don't worry. Don't pay attention to the evidence. It's actually everybody else who's lying. Joel, thank you for the super chat. Axe said, why doesn't the right know the difference between your and you are? Red state education. I think that's, we could probably chalk that up to. I'm losing my voice. I've not been sleeping well. I'm sitting here. Heather said, thank you sincerely, Lobbish on TikTok. Thank you very much. I'll update that gift goal here in just a minute. I'm going to skip over Dr. Oz. Let's get right to Davos. And I want to start with Prime Minister Carney from Canada, because this is sobering. I'll say it that way. This is the United States' greatest ally. They don't cause us any problems. When we go to war, they go to war. Canadians have laid down their lives in defense of the United States. We've had great trade relationships with them for decades, and one guy by himself has ruined that. And here's Mark Carney, intelligently not mentioning Trump's name, but delivering a stark reality of how the rest of the world now views the United States of America.
Multilateral institutions on which the middle powers have relied, the WTO, the UN, the COP, the architecture, the very architecture of collective problem solving are under threat. And as a result, many countries are drawing the same conclusions, that they must develop greater strategic autonomy in energy, food, critical minerals, in finance and supply chains. And this impulse is understandable. A country that can't feed itself, fuel itself, or defend itself has few options. When the rules no longer protect you, you must protect yourself. But let's be clear-eyed about where this leads. A world of fortresses will be poorer, more fragile, and less sustainable. And there's another truth. If great powers abandon even the pretense of rules and values for the unhindered pursuit of their power and interests, the gains from transactionalism will become harder to replicate. Hegemons cannot continually monetize their relationships. Allies will diversify to hedge against uncertainty.
In layman's terms, sorry, Republican, those were a lot of big words, so we'll explain that. What he's saying is that Donald Trump is shaking all of these countries down. And while some of these countries are determining, like, is it really worth it to fight it, or should we just like give in? You can't do that forever. So now these countries are recognizing that Donald Trump will never stop shaking them down. And so they have to look for trade partners elsewhere. Yesterday, Canada announced new trade deals with China. China is more trusted around the world than the United States now. We are probably the least trusted country in the world now. And countries are flooding to China going, we would much rather do business with China than the United States because we can trust them more.
They'll buy insurance, increase options in order to rebuild sovereignty. Sovereignty that was once grounded in rules but will increasingly be anchored in the ability to withstand pressure.
Sobering stuff happening at Davos today. Yeah, trusted, doing business with China. And what we're seeing from MAGA here right now is you're watching indoctrination in real time, and you're watching a meltdown of indoctrination in real time. One, they didn't seem to know what most of those words mean, but you'll notice what MAGA's doing. They're making fun of Carney. They're saying that he seems like he's going to cry. They're calling Canada a communist country, which means they don't know what communism is because you can't have what Canada has and be communist. You can't have a monetary system. You can't have a government at all. You can't have a class system, which they do. What you're seeing in real time is the whole world telling MAGA that they don't trust you anymore. They don't trust you at all. And you're going, pussies. Oh, I'll spend 20 more minutes emotionally crashing out, Wardy. Emotions are great. I'm an emotional person. It's not an insult to me. This matters to me. It matters to me that we have a country that has been so indoctrinated that now there's 30 to 35% of the voting base who will believe anything and everything without a single solitary drop of evidence. I will continue to be emotional about that. Yeah. And there's more of your indoctrination. You think emotion is weakness. You don't think Donald Trump's emotional? He's just angry. He just doesn't feel the other emotions. But whether you think you're right or not, the world is rejecting your ideology. The world wants more compassion. The world wants more empathy. The world wants more cohesion. And you guys want to be the bullies. I don't know why. I don't know what you think that gets you. I think maybe it's you feel mediocre, and so you feel strong when you stand with Donald Trump, who's a bully. Maybe that's what it is. Like, I haven't really figured that out. I haven't figured out why you would like to destroy all of our relationships across the world. And just because they're like, we're not going to do whatever you want. I don't know why you don't want other countries to make their own decisions. Why you think it's so important that the United States be the ones making all of their decisions. And more directly, Donald Trump. Donald Trump has not been successful with his decisions in his life. He's terrible with money. Donald Trump bankrupts he's bankrupted virtually every company he's ever started. And you might say he's smart for filing bankruptcy, but you can't do that with a country. And then if you rule the world, what happens? That's why the value of our dollar has dropped. He's created a competing currency against our dollar. None of what he's doing makes any sense. And you guys can't make sense of it either. You just are still convinced that he has a plan. It's becoming alarmingly clear that he does not have a plan, that he has special interest groups who pay him money, and from time to time he does stuff for them. But this is a grift on a scale never before seen. He's literally stealing money. He has offshore bank accounts now. Donald Trump just stole the oil from Venezuela and put it in an offshore bank account that none of us can have oversight on. Did we not just finish with Joe Biden? Did we not just finish with you guys trying to claim the Biden crime family because Hunter Biden did business with other countries? And now radio silence when Donald Trump orders the government to steal oil from another country, then sell that oil, and then take that money and put it in an offshore bank account where Congress, who has the power of the purse, has no visibility? This is what I'm talking about. Like, the principles for you guys don't exist. It's Donald Trump is everything. No matter what he does, it is great, and anybody who opposes it is emotional and a traitor. I've never seen a bigger group of bitches in my life. It is the most bitch shit, brain dead thinking that this country's ever had to deal with. And you're proud of it. We're like, yeah, I love it. Good. Donald Trump should have his own private bank account that he steals money from other countries and puts it in his own account that we can't see. We don't trust the government, so we just trust Trump. Oh, okay. We trust this one guy. He's very honest. He hasn't been sued like thousands of times for being dishonest. We believe him. All right, let's get to this dumbass. One more I got that part actually from Carney. Here's Trump, first of all, talking about absolute nonsense. This is not a real thing. These are the rantings. If this person came up to you on the side of the street and started talking to you the way that Donald Trump is speaking now, you would assume that this person was in some sort of crisis. And if you were a Republican, you would say, throw them away, put them in an asylum. And if you were a Democrat, you might say, let's get this person some help. But either way, whatever your action might be, this is the ramblings of an insane person.
For national and international security, and to keep our very energetic and dangerous potential enemies at bay, is this land on which we're going to build the greatest golden dome ever built. We're building a golden dome.
Excuse me? We're building a golden dome? Where? Where are we building a golden dome? You guys want to help me with that, MAGA? Please tell me. Just tell me where. Did we start it already? It's the East Wing. We're building a golden dome? That's an interesting thing you guys say. Like, the left watched the rambling of an imbecile for years and said, yep, that's our guy. So then we decided we're going to bring our own rambling imbecile. Is that what you're saying, Wyas? Whatever you want to say about Joe Biden, the rest of the world liked him. The other world leaders liked him. They weren't abandoning him. They weren't all running to do trade with China. You can say whatever you want about Joe Biden. That's fine. I don't think he was, whatever level you think his mental acuity was, he didn't have our trade partners running for the door. He wasn't talking about a golden dome over all of North America that obviously isn't going to happen, obviously isn't happening. What the fuck is he talking about? Ty said, honest opinion on BYD going into Canada and what it'll do to Ford GM. Every electric vehicle maker in Canada is fucked. BYD, the Chinese electric vehicles made by BYD, they're cheaper and they're better. Much, much better. You're going to see electric vehicles like BYDs everywhere in China. They're incredible. I think their base model is something like $15,000 or $20,000. And it blows the brakes off of any electric vehicle we have anywhere near that price point in America, including what's the model? Model 3 Tesla, is that their cheapest one? Blows that out of the water. Yeah. Electric vehicle manufacturers like Ford and GM, they're right now to stop making electric vehicles because nobody in the world is going to buy electric vehicles from us. And we're just going to be stuck with like shitty electric vehicles or gas powered because Donald Trump fucked us all over.
That's going to, just by its very nature, going to be defending Canada. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also. But
what does Canada get for us? What does Canada get for free from us? Yeah, but brother, listen, I see that. This idiot now promoting Chinese. That's how stupid you are. If you can't recognize the strengths of your competition and acknowledge the strengths of your competition, then you're going to be shocked when the competition swallows you, which is what's happening right now. They are running circles around this dumb motherfucker. Circles. They're beating his ass in trade. They're stealing all of our trade partners. And all they have to do is not be insane. They just have to sit around and wait. Donald Trump will drive all these people to them. If like you can be upset that we're talking about China, but you jacking off America and refusing to acknowledge where China's beating us is exactly why you like this guy. Because he doesn't tell you the truth. He's such an egomaniac that he keeps telling you we're winning when we're getting blown the fuck out. Nobody has done more damage to our reputation and our trade worldwide than Donald Trump. Nobody wants to do trade with him. The only reason we still have trade partners is because we have a massive economy. But that massive economy won't really matter that much anymore if we have somebody like Donald Trump who's going to push very stupid trade deals that no longer make sense for Canada and Mexico and the UK. And so if they have a bigger consumer base in China that they can sell to, and they don't have to deal with his dumb fuckery, they'll do it. Because the reality is, if you're one of these other countries, who are you more afraid of right now? China's not doing anything. Trump's threatening to invade everywhere. Take a step outside of your shoes and think about how you would feel if you were one of these other countries. Who would you trust more? China or the US? China. No brainer. Our best trading partner, Canada, says we can't trust our best trading partner any longer. So we have to go work with China. That's not good. It's not good when the people who have been most loyal to us, who have stood by us through everything, who have went to war, who have risked lives for us, even dumb wars like Iraq and Afghanistan and Vietnam, wars we had no business going to. We dragged them into those wars. They lost people too because they were partners with us. And then Donald Trump shows up and goes, everything in my life revolves around me getting picked on. So I'm going to look for any reason to go out and bully people. And the whole world is saying, fuck off, Donald. And it's going to hurt us eventually. It already is. Like, look at our economy's not going well. Oh, it's only going well if you're filthy fucking rich. Our entire stock market relies on 5 companies. And those 5 companies have made a massive bet on AI, and they're not delivering on that. Like, what AI is going to do, what they promised it was going to do, it's not delivering. And China's getting the same type of results that we are, and they're spending 1/10 of the money to do it. This is not a good position that we're in. The reason we're talking about expanding territory is because our economy is in fucksville right now. We're in Hail Mary time. And Donald Trump and Republicans will never admit that. And so they won't take the steps necessary, like taxing people more, controlling in some of this investment, making sure that the profits from these companies are passed down to the workers and not to the investors. Donald Trump won't do any of that because these people paid him too much money. So instead, he's just going to destroy all of our relationships with our allies. This is the epitome of somebody losing at a board game and turning it over, just throwing the pieces everywhere. This is a temper tantrum on the world stage.
Now, I watched your prime minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements. For now.
Is that a threat? He's threatening Mark Carney because Mark Carney says, I don't trust the United States anymore. So you have to just do whatever Donald Trump says or he threatens you. How's that going to go for our like, MAGA, what you guys need to happen is you need for all of these countries to be cucky little bitches like yourselves. You need them all to tuck their wieners and just give up all of their own identity and become worshipers of Donald Trump. And if they don't, we're fucked. And they don't seem to want to do that. There's 2 ways that this ends if Donald Trump stays on this path. He either caves, which we know he's not going to do, or we wind up having war. Over what? Why are we mad at Greenland? Why are we mad at Canada? Tell me why Donald Trump's mad at Canada, MAGA, before we get to this next one. You've had a lot to say about Mark Carney. What is it that has upset Donald Trump about Canada? I'll wait. Nothing? You don't get it. Yeah, I know I don't get it. That's why I'm asking you. Do you get it, Scar? Do you want to explain it to me? Amy Lynn said, people in chat talking about China, low quality. Most luxury brands are made in China, then shipped to another country for branding tags. Facts. Also, even Tesla's largest manufacturing plant is in China. They know it best there. Ty said, oh, I got ties there. Alfredo said, Russia and China are loving this Trump chaos. Yeah, they're just sitting back watching Trump destroy everything. And there's a good argument that Trump's doing this for Russia. You could make that argument. I'm not going to say that that's true, but you can make that argument pretty easy. Uh-oh. Do you guys not have any reason? Like, what did Canada do to us? You guys literally don't have anything? This is actually crazy. You don't know, none of you have one thing? Good Lord, you guys are dumber than I thought. I thought you'd have something.
Well, Kevin's here.
Who?
Kevin's here. There'll be some dumb stuff here soon. So.
Oh, good. All you guys are doing, it's just fear mongering. Look at Mag in the chat. China's actually bad. Why? Because you've run out? You guys have run out of stuff? Canada has tariffs on us when we didn't. What tariffs are you talking about, Wardy? As a Canadian, it's like having front row seats to the fall of the Roman Empire. I don't know if you want front row seats. This president of ours is he's going to look for collateral damage. Milk and lumber. Let's look at Canadian milk tariffs by year. Like since Trump's been in office, I guess we could start 2017. Canada eliminated Class 7, expand U.S. dairy access. It's like they undid that through NAFTA. Then the the CPA-TP and the TPP. Canada opens 3.5% dairy market to TPP partners. What Canada had on dairy and lumber, there's certain quotas that needed to be met. Like once you imported enough, then you would get hit with a tariff. And I don't think any of those triggers have been even hit in like the last 10 years. So what the reason that Trump needs to be like this to Canada is that Canada has a hypothetical tariff on milk and lumber that never gets hit, that if it gets hit, just the overages will be subject to a tariff. And that's why we need to take Greenland. That's why we need to start threatening Canada. Bro, you guys are real good at talking when you're just insulting me. Real bad when I ask you for specifics. We can pull up the Canadian milk. We can just let's pull up the milk tariffs here. Imports within the tariff rate quotas, TRQs, established by the USMCA face low or zero tariffs, allowing a specific volume of U.S. milk to enter duty-free. Over-quota imports trigger high tariffs, such as 241% on milk to protect Canadian dairy producers. So exactly what I just said. Let's see when the last time that was. You can see, when was the last time dairy quota was met or was triggered? See, there we go. Thanks, Mark. It's crazy how I say this. Like I say, all you guys could do is insult me, but you can't give me any data. And then Mark's like, I'm going to insult you some more. Does anybody know when the last time the milk tariffs were triggered? Canada's TRQs, including for milk, are rarely fully filled, so overquota tariffs are seldom triggered. Official data shows zero available quantity of CUSMA milk August 1st to July 31st, indicating it was fully allocated or filled as of the latest 2025-2026 update. Fill rates averaged only 42% across dairy TRQs in 2022-2023, with many below 50%, meaning quotas have not been triggered for over-quota tariffs in recent years. Okay, so we're not being tariffed then? Dope. So Trump's mad at Canada for something that didn't happen. Dope. Whoops. So now why is he mad at Canada? None of you know. This should be embarrassing for you, but you should think about this. You should take your hands off the keyboard or the phone and think for a second, why is it that every time he asks a question, I don't have an answer? Why is it that every time he asks a question, I get angry and insult him instead of giving an answer? Ask yourself that question. Be a little reflective today. All right. Let's get to old Donnie here with the hits. Goes to Davos and rolls out the hits. Fuck them windmills. Before we play this clip, I want to see from MAGA, what's wrong with windmills?
One thing I've noticed is that the more windmills a country has, the more money that country loses and the worse that country is doing. China makes almost all of the windmills, and yet I haven't been able to find any wind farms in China. Did you ever think of that? It's a good way of looking at it. They're smart. China's very smart. They make them, they sell them for a fortune.
Raise your hand if you think that's true, that there's no wind farms in China. MAGA. Raise your hand. How many wind farms do you think there are? They kill eagles and they cause cancer. They're killing the whales too. Yeah. They have the biggest windmill farms. I'm trying to pull the total number here. I forgot to do this earlier. I got a phone call. Why is he 5,000 operational wind farms? There we go again. There's MAGA. Will they give me data? No. Will they insult me? Absolutely. Listen, an insult from somebody who can't answer basic questions doesn't hurt. It just exposes to everybody else how fucking dumb you are. If I ask you a specific question and your only response is you're dumb, everybody in the chat knows you don't know the answer. Everybody knows that this is just like little dick syndrome. That you're frustrated that you can't figure this shit out. You're frustrated that I'm asking questions you don't have answers to, so you get mad. Everybody knows that's what you're doing right now. I don't know how many more times I have to predict what you're going to do, and then you do it, and you just keep doing it. Stop it. Be an adult. 5,000 operational wind farms. 661.6 gigawatts of capacity. Offshore, most of them offshore. Or onshore. So let's go back to what Trump said.
I've noticed is that the more windmills...
Bro, go do your history. This isn't history, dipshit. This is real time. See? Insults, yes. Data, no.
A country has, the more money that country loses and the worse that country is doing. China makes almost all of the windmills, and yet I haven't been able to find any wind farms in China. Did you ever think of that? It's a good,
probably doesn't know how to find China on a map, I'm guessing.
Good way of looking at this.
He's just looking at a globe. There's no wind farms on this globe. There must be no wind farms in China. The rest of the world isn't as fucking stupid as MAGA. This only works on MAGA dipshits. MAGA's the only people that can sit here and be lied to directly to their face and accept it.
China's very smart. They make them, they sell them for a fortune. They sell them to the stupid people that buy them.
Yeah, it's the cheapest form of energy. It's the easiest form of energy to generate. It's the cheapest form of energy. The most expensive is oil, but for sure the smart people are the ones who use oil. That's not regenerative. That's very expensive. Those are the smart ones. See, this is what he does to you, MAGA. Like, he doesn't fucking care about you. And he knows that you're stupid. So he tells you that you're smart for agreeing with him. But what you're all doing is you're advocating for energy that is very expensive. Every other country in the world is moving towards renewable energy. And yes, some of their energy costs have increased because they tax their citizens to build the infrastructure. So when they're building windmills, when they're building solar plants, they have to tax people in order to build them. So they do that. So sometimes their energy costs go up as they make this transition. But Donald Trump has convinced your dumbest friends that the smartest people in the world are the ones who want to pay for oil forever, who never want to be able to drive a car without stopping at a gas station. People who want to make sure that their house is heated and cooled by natural gas and oil, not something renewable that you can get for free out of the sky. You need to pay for it. And he tells you, you're so smart for thinking this way. And his backers, his billionaire backers, just sign another check. Thanks, Donald. Thanks for convincing all these fucking dipshits that buying their energy in the most expensive way is actually the smart thing to do. And then you'll see here, like, watch again. They'll all insult me, but they won't talk about renewable energy because they have now become people who are against renewable energy on principle. They are morally opposed to clean energy. And how did you get this way? Because you're fucking dumb. And you say things like, follow the money, until you have to follow the money on your side. And it's like, wait a minute. Who benefits if we don't do green energy? Oil companies. What happens if we have renewable energy? What happens if we all have electric vehicles and solar panels on our house? What happens to those oil companies? Oh, they're no longer billionaires? Yeah, but they're not going to lie to us, for sure. They're for sure telling the truth. It's pathetic to watch you guys do this in real time. I'm embarrassed to be an American because of you. And it's not because politically we differ. It's like when you're faced with obvious data. Or something just as simple as, would you like to pay for your energy, or would you like it to be renewable and pay for it one time and then get it for free forever after that? I want to pay for it every time. And I want the price to be, I don't want to be able to predict what the price is going to be. When there's a war in Ukraine, I want the prices to fucking skyrocket. And it won't match my pay. I want my energy bill to suddenly quadruple and have no explanation as to why. That is actually the smarter, better system. I don't want renewable energy where it's coming in for free. I don't want windmills creating power out of wind and coming in for free. I need it to be unpredictable. I need it to make the air worse. And I want other countries to be able to manipulate it. That's what we need. That's MAGA. That's America first, baby. That's common sense. And the rest of the world just looks at you guys like, are you fucking kidding me? And we go, yeah, we're not. We're not. This is really who we're dealing with. These are really the people that we're dealing with here. Just the dumbest people are so fucking confident. Chomper, you keep saying, like, don't tell us to leave. You're fucked if we leave. Who's going to read the instructions for you, dumbasses? Who's going to do math for you? Who's going to tell you which direction north is? Who's going to explain how babies are made? Just stop asking for the educated people to leave because they make you feel uncomfortable with data. Well, I don't like learning. Learning makes me feel small, and then that makes me feel angry. So I want the people who teach me things to leave. It's fucking pathetic. Again, though, one more time, what can they do? Can they refute any of this? No. Can they insult me? Yes. But being insulted by stupid people doesn't hurt. It just makes you look more pathetic that you are you're rage commenting into oblivion at somebody you don't even know. I'm just asking you for your argument. I'm asking you to explain something, and it makes you so mad. Oh, he's just asking us to provide data. He's asking us to provide a good, coherent argument. I'm not going to